Hello there, metalheads, and welcome to Metal Verbalizer podcast. Do you like power? Do you like heavy metal? Do you like heavy sound with some powerful female vocals? If you answered yes to those questions, I do have a gem for you people. This time we are going to verbalize a band from Italy formed back in 2018 called Moonlight Haze. Unfortunately, I don't have too much about the history since it's still written, so we are going to the dessert straight away and we're going to talk about the music. When it comes to their sound, there's a lot to talk about because they have a huge sound. They do, of course, have the heavy distortion driven guitars and drums that you can feel every single beat in your chest, but there's a lot more to the sound. They have done a great job mixing in to the metal some synthesizers, which is kind of expected, but they have also mixed in some classical orchestral instruments like harps and violins and different wind instruments and absolutely huge sounding choir sections as well. They have also, to get some more dynamics in their song, mixed in some geniusly slow harp sections or piano sections. I know that I've been talking about dynamics a lot, but I think that's something that is really important. If you want an example of a well executed dynamic, you should listen to a song of theirs called Odi et Amo from their debut album, because that is a dynamic masterpiece using different kinds of instruments to like create a journey through the music. And that's a great method to really use different instruments to create different kinds of dynamic in a song. Once or twice, I believe I've heard a Asian instrument also called a koto, which has a really classic sound. I believe that is, don't quote me on this, but I believe that is a traditional Japanese instrument. But we haven't talked about the diamond on top of the crown yet. The band, like I mentioned, is female fronted, and holy shit can she sing. She has absolute crazy power in her vocals and is a voice that really cuts through and don't get buried among all of the other instruments, since there are so many instruments. And in some of the songs they have also hired in an operatic singer. Here I don't really know, but live I've seen that they have a second singer that they bring in to sing the operatic parts, but on the records there might as well be the main singer. I don't know that, so don't quote me on it. But I really think that is a cool thing to bring in, since you're having that classic orchestral sound as well. You might as well bring in some operatic singers as well. And this is for sure symphonic metal at its absolute best. And if this sort of sound sounds interesting to you, you should absolutely check out Moonlight Haze. But that's not all. Don't leave yet. They have released some albums, etc. to talk about as well. So they started by releasing the Butterfly Effect and Ad Astra as two singles in 2019. And I think that's a good idea to get out some of your music as fast as possible. And later the same year, we get the full-length album packed with 10 seriously heavy songs. The album is called Di Rerum Natra. Sorry about my Italian, but yeah. And it starts off strong with a song called To the Moon and Back, with big orchestral parts mixed with some heavy guitars and gut-punching drums, and some seriously impressive vocals. This is followed by the single Ad Astra, which is just a great track. Then you have a song called Odi et Amo, and that's just a few examples of tracks from the album. And in my opinion, the album is really good all the way through. And something that I really like with their music is that the music is really melodic. It is really easy to hear a very clear melody, especially in the chorus of the songs. And I think that's something that is really important because that makes the music so much more memorable. And what I mean with that is that if you really can have that clear of a melody, and I mean as clear so that you can actually go and humming it throughout the day after listening to the song, that is how you remember a song. And what I really like is that they have really taken the time through the pandemic and created some more awesome music. Because we didn't have to wait for long, because already in 2020, new music arrived. This time we did get 3 new singles to prepare for the upcoming album, which is awesome. And the singles are called Enigma, Till the End, and The Rabbit of the Moon. When writing this episode, I thought I had a favorite among these singles, but when giving it a second thought, I actually can't decide on which one that might be my favorite. Something that I really like is that in Enigma, they are actually singing in Italian, which is their native language. And I think that's great when a band is not originally from an English-speaking country, which I kind of talking about America, UK, or Australia, or something like that. I think it's great that bands, in that case, decide to have one or a few songs in their native language. And that's usually quite cool. These singles are, of course, featured in the next album that was released later in 2020, which was called Lunaris. Something that I really like with this album is that they have started to mix in some acoustic guitars at this point. And in the title track, for example, we have an acoustic intro and partially the outro as well. Then we have a song that comes after, which is called Under Your Spell, where the acoustic guitars are heard throughout the whole song, actually, and mixed together with the heavy distortion-driven guitars. Which upon a Scar is another song that is more like the singles that we previously talked about when it comes to the sound and the tempo. So then we're back on this heavy-ass sound again. In my opinion, this is, once again, a fantastic album from the band. I don't have anything bad to say about this album. And now we're starting to see a theme with their releases, because right now, this year, 2022, we have 4 more singles to listen to. And they're called Never Say Never, and I believe that there is another artist that used this title before, but this song is for sure much better. I can promise you that. And continuing on, we have one that's called It's Insane, Will Be Free, and then we have Animus. And something that is a little bit interesting here that I noticed when looking through everything. Listen to this. Before the first album, we had 2 singles. Before the second album, we had 3 singles. Before the third album, we get 4 singles. The next album, what is this gonna be? The 4th album, are we gonna get 5 singles then? I don't know. You tell me, maybe. Maybe you have an idea about what we're gonna do there. These songs are not surprisingly featured on the next album that we call Animus. This album begins with a song called The Nothing. This song is super heavy with a large choir intro, and the choir follows us through the song in the choruses and so on. And we are also treated with some opera singing as well in the song, which is still great. I do actually like opera in metal. And another song from this album is called The Thief of the Moon. But I gotta say that my favorite songs from this album has to be It's Insane and Will Be Free. These songs might be my 2 favorite songs from all over their releases, actually. And the chorus in Will Be Free has just so much power in it. I love it. It's impossible to stop headbanging to the song. It's just impossible. But you do for sure not want to miss out on this album. Not any other songs, because it's a brand new and it's an absolute fantastic album. But yeah, some final words about this band. When I first heard Will Be Free, which was the first song that I heard with this band, I just knew that this was a fantastic band. And I'm really happy that I decided to look into the band a little bit closer. And I can really imagine this band playing large arenas in the future. And since they make use of choirs and orchestrals in their sound, bringing an actual choir on stage would be kind of cool. And maybe even bringing an actual orchestra as well. I know that a band called Sabaton, you might know about it. they have had during their latest tour an actual choir on stage with them at all time. And I know that earlier in their days they have actually played shows with actual orchestras as well. So maybe that's something for Moonlight Haze in the future as well. Who knows? I think that would be super cool. But that's all I have for you about this band. And do not forget to follow their socials. And if you decide to check them out, it would be really cool if you would tell them that we sent you over and we tipped you about the band. But yeah, and if you enjoy what we are doing here on the Metal Verbalizer podcast, bringing you some new awesome metal for you to listen to, please follow our socials as well to get updates about when we release new awesomeness. Because sometimes we actually release interviews with members of the bands that we have talked about. And we're actually working on some cool ideas for the future for the podcast as well, that you absolutely do not want to miss. Thanks for listening. I've been Erik. You've been listening to Metal Verbalizer podcast. Have a good one. Bye for now.